Ignorance has a strong place in society. But where does intellectualism go? Where does class and elegance go? Where is the place for them to hang out? Amoral Minds, I'm your host, RJ Roger. And what we're going to talk about today is popular media personalities and podcasters. We are in a strange place. Why is it that personalities like Charlamagne the God built himself up on chronically disrespecting black people, brings Jennifer Lopez onto his show, and then when she gets up to leave, he sniffs her chair live on air?
No, actually, I sniffed your chair last time you was
You're
here.
a sick person.
I know. I did. I couldn't help
person.
it. You're J-Lo. I just,
He definitely did a
need to
couple of
know?
times.
I just had to know what it smelled like just a little bit.
J-Lo just left. Never fails. Come on, y'all. Picture. I was sniffing the seat.
He routinely talks about sucking farts out of women's buttholes. He asked Dr. Oz if he ever tried to have sex with Oprah, and then asked him, where are the hoes at? Camron and Mase recently started a sports podcast where in between every point that they make, they have to say, no homo, pause. They were recently talking about a threesome that they participated in where Mase was hitting the woman as she was performing oral sex on Camron, and as Mase was penetrating her from behind, he was hitting her and saying, why didn't you do it to me like that? Dame Dash, he's sticking his foot in media, started a new show on YouTube. He's doing pretty good right now, getting some good numbers, and he's high and drunk virtually every show. Another guy that can't speak without saying pause in between every other word. He sits in the dark with his glasses on. Hassan Campbell, big personality right now. Commands hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Recently was shot live on air while playing the tough guy. Mona Scott, major black producer. Produces probably the most disgusting show, Love and Hip Hop, that's on all of cable television. WorldStar Hip Hop. Why do we record young schoolgirls fighting, beating up on each other? No one steps in and breaks it up. They get their phones out and they say, WorldStar. You know, I recently heard Nore on Drink Champs ask himself, he said, why does Jay-Z sit with Gaye King rather than Drink Champs, rather than Joe Budden podcast, rather than Gillie and Wallo? Why does he do this? Where is the place to go if you represent elegance, class, if you care about how you represent yourself, not just to your community, but to your children, to your father, to your mother? What about that? Being real, okay? That's the new thing that we've been taught in this community. Being real, keeping it 100. But have we asked ourselves what that actually means? Are we supposed to keep it real all the time? Do we keep it real on the screen? Do we keep it real for YouTube? Do we show everything? Or is there a place for modesty? Is there a place that we understand that we are representing a larger group of people? Is keeping it real a trick that was played on us to look like goddamn fools in front of the whole world? When you look at the way we are being represented on television, media, podcast, all of these things, are you proud of what you see? Is keeping it real now misrepresented for keeping it dumb, keeping it ignorant, doing things that really have no evergreen placement in society? What do we get out of Charlamagne smelling J-Lo's chair? What do we get from him asking, how is oral sex from Brandy? Is it as good as everybody says it is? What comes from this type of behavior? And why is it that this is the most exposed content in front of all of us? Now, let me shift gears a bit, and I want to talk about some other people who make content in the black community. Umar Johnson, PhD in clinical psych. He's building a school right now to educate black children. Now, some people say, well, he's a little bit extreme, or some say he's very extreme. But what if he is extreme? Is Umar Johnson's extremities worse than Mase penetrating a woman from the back, hitting her while she's performing fellatio on Camron and hitting her and saying, "You didn't suck me that way." Let's stick in this vein of extremities when we're talking about Umar Johnson. Is Umar Johnson more extreme than Charlamagne the God talking about, hey, have you ever sucked a fart out of your girlfriend's asshole? No, nothing to see there. Umar, go away, you're too extreme. You say crazy things, Umar. But we're okay with that. And he's so extreme. He's extreme. And I've heard this from everybody, even people who I really respect. Oskino. I really like Oskino. Someone I really admire a lot. He said, Dr. Umar's a little extreme. What's more extreme? Hip hop that came out of Rockefeller Records? Or statements from Umar Johnson? What's worse? Talking about shooting people, killing people, chopping people up? What's more extreme? Umar Johnson or Cardi B's wet ass pussy? What's really hurting black people and the black community? Future. Two bad bitches at the same damn time. I talked about this before. Makes some of the most disgusting music that you could ever listen to. Brags about using drugs. Hooked everybody in our community on pills. What's more extreme? That or Umar Johnson? Let's talk about Dr. Boyce Watkins. Struggles to get views at times. He doesn't command the viewership that he probably should command. Why? PhD in finance. Sits online every day teaching black people how to spend their money, how to save their money, how to invest their money, how to start a business. Why does the black intelligent person have a tough time reaching the people that he's trying to help? What is the reason for this? Now, the easiest thing to do, which is a nice crutch that we like to use whenever we are talking about real issues that relate to our community. And I've been taking heat at times, nasty emails and comments and stuff for talking about this stuff. But how far should we go as a community in blaming people who didn't make the song? Yeah, they profited from it. They didn't make it. They didn't make the WorldStar video. They didn't make WorldStar Hip Hop one of the most heavily trafficked websites in the country. Who do we blame for this? Who is it that we look at? Where does this conditioning come from where there's been such a decline in morality among young people? I know when I'm born in 1985, I know it was customary to not curse in front of adults. It was customary to carry the bags for Mrs. Mary. What has happened to this? What has happened to society? What has brought about all of these things? Now, I have an answer, and I am going to give it at some point. But I'm more curious, what do you guys think? I'm RJ Roger. This is Amoral Minds. I got a great book coming out, The Don. It'll be in stores soon. Please support the book when it hits stores. Peace and love, and I'll see you next week.